from the Lone District of Pasig City, the chairman of the Committee on Basic Education at the House of Representatives, Congressman Romulo. Can you please give some greeting to our viewers from the education sector, please?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Dr. Amihan. April, thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you and, of course, to educators with us this evening. Good evening to everyone. This will be some learning experience even for me. I'm sure that I will get feedback from Dr. April after these discussions that we'll be having.
Thank you so much, Congressman. Of course, it's such a pleasure that we have brought to the Philippines right now from September our pre-launch broadcast for the education channel. So, of course, since this is geared towards the Filipino audience, so definitely we could discuss not only in the English language, since we have many resource persons from both abroad, Philippines, but of course to use the Filipino language. So, syempre, napaka-importante kasi ng edukasyon dito sa Pilipinas. And so I think we really have to begin from where the origins were insofar as you're concerned. So do you remember how and when did you actually decide your field of study of law and how it eventually informed you in your field of lawmaking eventually?
Yes. Actually, April, growing up, my dad is a lawyer. So
Yes.
alam naman natin lahat, di ba? When you grow up, yung idol mo would be your father. For some, their mothers. So more or less kung ano yung ginagawa
Parents
nila.
natin, diba?
Yan talaga yan yung talagang ina-idolize mo because you want to be like them when you grow up also. So my father was a lawyer. He was a practicing lawyer, in fact, at the beginning. So I knew na this was I wanted to become a lawyer. I wanted to be like him. That's why from an early age, I knew I wanted to take up law.
Yeah, so idol talaga si Daddy. Okay.
Yes.
So, but how did you make then the transition from your career trajectory as a practicing lawyer to that of lawmaker in the legislative branch of our government?
Yes, actually, April, I was practicing for about 10 years before I entered public service. So I was in a law firm for about 10 years, and then but during this whole time. My father also was in public service already by the time. So growing up, I would be exposed to issues that that would involve the Senate at that time when he was an assemblyman. So I knew there were issues that were before us, our society, and being a law student first, then as a practicing lawyer, I knew that there were things to be done. And I was aware of the issues from an early age. So I was very interested. And of course, my father and my mother were able to really imbibe in us that, you have to be a decent citizen. You have to do the right thing. So growing up talaga, parang ito talaga yung nakagisnan ko rin during the formative
Do you remember what skills and competencies you wanted to develop in order to prepare your future career as a form of advice to our young people? So what kind of experiential learning do you think they should be exposed to before they could actually be in that particular field of both the study of law and even lawmaking?
I think for any profession, like when you're in the study of law, it's really the biggest part will be what you're really interested in.
Yes.
I think at the end, sa akin kasi really growing up, nakita ko my father was practicing law. I saw him studying. So na-idolize ko talaga. I saw it as dignified work Because if you're a lawyer, you're able to provide for your family, you're able to earn a living. So parang sa akin, lahat naman tayo, we want to have a family when we're older, no? Even when you were young, naisip mo na yan. So this was for me, it was dignified And it was a good profession.
Yes.
So, maaga pa lang sa akin na maganda maging lawyer. But again, most important thing is you want to do it. So, in my case, if at one point in time naman na nakita ko hindi ko hilig ang being a lawyer, I would stop. I mean, hindi naman pwede you're doing that for another. It has to be ikaw talaga dahil gusto mo. Hindi pwede na you want to please your parents or you want to please some other person. It really has to be something na you're interested in. Hilig mo rin talaga. You want, you think you will be able to bring up a family, earn a decent income with what you're doing and you're enjoying what you're doing. And
So I think it's important not only the influence of our parents or even our relatives, but also, as you mentioned, the interest. Those are the two, it seems, important aspects to it.
Yes.
So once you ended up already as a lawmaker in the House of Representatives, because you've actually had finished your 3 terms and now already in the second term again in the House of Representatives, what sort of interest did you have connected to education? Why did you eventually choose the committees related to education for the legislature?
Yes, because after my first term in Congress, being a lawyer, parang you will automatically really veer towards the what they call the Rules Committee. Yun yung
Exactly.
gumagawa ng regulations,
Yes.
supervises the procedure in Congress, and that's where I was for my first term especially. Talagang nasa Rules
Yes.
Committee ako, and for me, parang that it was a perfect fit for me. And during that time, because if you're in the Rules Committee, you're very much involved in practically all aspects talaga nung lawmaking. Kasi
Yes.
you are required to be present every day.
Yes.
Because ikaw nagka-traffic nung iba-ibang issues, nung mga
So, mga deliberations.
ikaw yung traffic police doon Ikaw
Yes, exactly.
And then there will be objections In the middle of everything, there can be an objection to what person, one of the members saying by another member. So kailangan makinig ka rin Kaya maganda rin talaga sa rules. You have to listen to everyone. So yun, being in the rules, I had to participate, listen, and learn a lot of the different issues. Especially now, pagdating ng budget, kasama ka rin Because again, the Rules Committee takes control of the flow of the sponsorship, the deliberations, the debates So you have to listen also So
Yes.
with my experience with my experience in the Rules Committee, talagang it all boils down to education Everything talaga. First of all, we have the Philippines has a limited budget. Whether pandemic or hindi, our revenues will never match the expenditures, the requirements of Philippine government. Kaya nga may portion talaga siya umuutang tayo. Yes, factual talaga yan, lalo na pag pandemic. So yung pinaka-importante talaga dito is that the Constitution requires the highest budget would always go to the education sector. So sa atin, sabay na lahat yun. CHED, TESDA, in fact, DepEd, lahat pinagsasama-sama. And talagang any administration would make it number 1 because it's a constitutional mandate. Pero tingnan po natin, kahit na mag-number 1 siya, magtataka ka pa rin with the results we have. Even a long time ago, even yung results natin, yung mga internal tests natin, there was much to be desired.
Okay.
So during my last term, my the third term, I decided I will sabi ko I'll take a chairmanship.
Yes.
So ang kinuha ko noon, dapat related to education because tingin ko talaga dun yung changes. I took the chairmanship of higher education and culture, higher education and technical education, yun ang kinuha ko. So when I was there, ang importante kasi makapagkolehiyo, makapagtapos ng kolehiyo. Ang problema lagi dyan, sinasabi yung syempre medyo mas mahal talaga magkolehiyo kasi libre naman talaga atin even before yung basic education. Pag college noon, hindi naman except of course mag-UP ka or state universities, medyo mababa. Yung tuition mo. But then malaki yung gastos mo pa rin. But during that time, maraming mga innovations na ginagawa para lang makadala tayo ng mas marami. If the problem was financial, may mga bridging program, may mga financial programs na ginagawa para lang makatawid from fourth year high school then to college. Pero, napansin ko because when you're chairperson of the Committee on Higher and Technical Education, automatically, you're a board member of all state universities and colleges.
Of the state universities, right?
Yes. Mga 113 yan the time So you more or less I attended everyone every school I attended
Mga board meetings, they would always have it at least on a quarterly basis.
Yes. So I made it a point to attend kahit once at least all 113 para lang matutunan ko rin ano yung problema. And the common thing always was despite the fact that we had meron tayong mga financial packages para kung ang problema talaga is financial, makatulong sa estudyante. nagkakaroon pa rin tayo ng ng bridging programs eh. Lalo na
Exactly.
kung galing sa probinsya yung estudyante, nadadalhin sa isang university or college in Metro Manila,
Yes.
may bridging programs eh. I don't know if it's because of, syempre, una, naninibago eh, di ba? Talagang urban center ng Metro Manila. Adjustments are difficult talaga. So, siguro because of that, nagkaka-bridging programs and everything. So, talagang kahit anong sabihin mo, the problem, babalik talaga sa sa basic education eh.
Exactly.
Doon ang problema eh. Kasi talagang all administrations have really tried to do financial packages para makapunta talaga sa kolehiyo eh. Ang mga gusto magkolehiyo. But talagang hindi there were bridging programs kaya nagkaka-delay eh. Sa graduations ng iba. And that's why nung this term, na nakabalik akong Congress, I really made it a point na dito naman sa basic education because if we really want to make a change sa education sector natin, I think it really has to start with the basic, dito talaga sa basic education. And totoo naman, I've been, from the very beginning, when I was on break then, I was really taking a look at yung mga releases ng DepEd, yung mga nangyayari.
Yes.
And it's really about, it's a simple thing eh. It's really fixing things sa basic education natin. To be specific sa K to 3 eh. Yan talaga yung yan talaga dapat pagtuunan
These
talaga.
are the primary grades.
Primary grades. Right now, kung titingnan mo, Dr. April, you'll see we have about 5, 6, 7 to 8 subjects until you reach grade 3. And talagang it's burdensome eh. I think that's too much.
Yes.
And when you interview, when you talk to students, almost marami naman they can read eh. The reading is not the problem eh. The problem is the comprehension of what they read.
Yes.
And that's the most important thing. So
Exactly.
yung sinasabi ko sa DepEd now, of course, binabaan na nila yung di ba, yung competencies.
Yes.
From that 15,000 to a little more than 5,000. But that's not enough eh. Sa K to 3, I don't think we should really talk about competencies eh. It should really be the basics eh. Let's just make sure that the student learns how to read and understands what he or she is reading. And then of course, a little math, and then eventually science. Sabi ko yun lang. Sana dun lang tayo. Sabi sa akin, meron na po tayo lahat niyan. Ang problema nga, K to 12, for me, complicated it eh. They made it into what they call yung mga spiraling method, competencies.
Yes.
Causes confusion eh. In the whole education sector eh. Pero okay lang sa akin nun. Pero sa start muna sa K to 3, let's just make sure na marunong magbasa at naiintindihan yung pagbasa. Right now, bigla nagka-pandemic tayo, di ba?
Yes.
Nagka-pandemic tayo. What did we have to do? We had to shift.
Yes.
So distance learning and modular learning, self-learning, di ba, module kits. Ang napansin ng lahat, di ba, that's the joke eh. That really ang nahihirapan din dito are the parents eh. Because they become now the second teachers.
Or is it the primary teachers? Isn't it that they become now the primary teachers because the students are all at home?
At home, exactly. That's the problem. Sila magtuturo. O minsan pa nga, ang joke nga dyan, minsan sila nga sasagot eh. Di ba yun yung joke talaga eh? Di ba?
Yes.
Para yung mga meme na lumalabas, di ba? Yung gusto ko yung anak ko maging ininyero. Kaya gagalingan ko yung sagot dito sa math. Di ba may mga tweets na ganyan. So,
hindi ba yung parents ang nag-aaral?
Parang ganun yung meme. But ang point ko, what I'm telling DepEd now, is that exactly, that's the point eh. Dapat bumalik talaga tayo sa basics eh. Learn how to read. Because this time, kung nag-focus lang tayo from 2010 to now, instead of adjustments then, on reading and learning and understanding what you read, imagine now dito sa pandemic, especially in grade 4 paakyat, they will be their own teachers na rin. Because now they can easily read what is given to them. They can read books, magazines that interest them, and they can learn from that. Unlike ngayon, ang nangyayari, up to the higher levels, nagtuturo yung mga magulang eh. So, aminin natin, minsan, there are certain subjects that you've forgotten already eh. Because di ba, you're into your profession o nagtatrabaho ka na eh. So now, talagang if we're going to talk about quality of education, alam natin na after this pandemic, DepEd will have to come up with many bridging programs.
So, what do you think, Kong, about this proposal of a second education commission to be convened to really look into crafting possible education policies that will address paradigm shifts? As you mentioned, it's the ICT or technological enabled education. Also about the language divide, as you mentioned, because of the mother tongue based instruction as well as the use of English as a medium of instruction for scholarship. And then, of course, not only on the outcomes based education or competencies, but really, as you mentioned, on the skills based competencies based on the K-12.
That's correct. I was one of those who filed a resolution that we converted into a bill, really to have a next education summit. But sa akin dito, what my proposal is actually two ways. The first way is an oversight by Congress, because that is one of the functions of the Senate and the House. Mag-oversight kami. But over and above that, we should really convene an education summit composed of really yung education community natin that will now recommend what we have to do. Tama yun. We've had the EdCom 1 already. We've shifted to the K-12.
Yes.
I think now is the perfect time so that we can see, based on our experience, at least our education sector, their experience, on how to handle things and what changes must be done. Ang sa akin lang, hopefully, when we convene this education summit, the educators will also take a look at this, not only from a Western point of view or an Eastern or an Asian point of view, but really you must contextualize it from a Philippine point of view, because it's very difficult to copy from the other our Asian neighbors, or even from the Western countries, because very unique talaga ang Philippines in many aspects. Hindi, it will be difficult to really compare us and just copy. Hindi talaga tayo pwede mag-copy. We have to have our own, based on their experiences and what fits us. We should develop our own our own model.
Well, actually, it's really to develop our very own model that will address your specific relevant issues. How about this particular call to possibly integrate, because we have trifocalized the education, how about integrating the different mandates of the regulatory agencies as well as melding the educational policies for basic, higher, and technical education?
Tama yan, Dr. April, and I am one of those who have always said that maybe we should not have trifocalized. Simply because when we were known before as the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports, everything was really focused on all our students. When they decided to trifocalize, I remember during my first or second term, I already asked that question, especially I think to NCCA. Bakit parang nawawala na yung opo, yung mga storya tungkol sa mga things that will really strengthen again yung kultura ng Pilipino ng Pilipinas, di ba? Ang sabi nila sa akin, ang problema po, bago kami makapasok sa DepEd schools or any school, ibang departamento yon. So we have nakatok pa kami. Tinanong ko rin yan recently, in fact, when we passed the National Academy for Sports System, I asked that question bakit hindi tayo grassroots? Bakit because again, sports has been separated
from the Philippine Sports Commission, right?
Yeah, so kailangan kumatok rin sila sa DepEd bago sila pumasok sa DepEd schools natin. So that's why it's been I think it's been difficult yung to really may palarong pambansa, pero again, that's once a year, of course may regional yun, but then nawala yung strength natin ng DepEd Department of Education, Culture, and Sports na-divide talaga And of course, nasama na rin dyan yung higher education. Now, ang question is, do we integrate again? Again, ako naman, I'm pragmatic. I believe in pragmatic idealism talaga. Mahirap na ngayon. I think that these three departments, four in fact, parang na yan parang it's running already. So, we have to meld them together somehow. Hindi talaga pwedeng, baka mahirap nang ipagsama ulit. I think it will take more than Congress to do that. that will really be a push from the executive department to do that. Because talagang lilinyahin mo lahat na papayag sila without the support of any president. I think it will be difficult to integrate again. So unless a president suddenly says gusto kong integrate, I think that will be easy and that will be good. Pero habang wala yan, mahirap talaga. So let's live with what we have. Hindi naman tayo pwede
So what do you foresee as your legislative agenda for the next Congress, Kong? Because now the next Congress is forthcoming insofar as education is concerned.
Yes, katulad nga, Attorney April, we have K-12.
Yes.
But then we've already legislated certain, from our point of view, certain improvements that we want with the basic education. First, talagang we legislated already GMRC. Kailangan ibalik na yung good manners and right conduct as a subject for K to 3. Ang sinasabi natin, the new law, if you agree, that would say that yung dapat magturo dito, hindi talaga theoretical. But kailangan may practical aspect talaga na talagang pinapractice ng bata at ng teachers paano to. Gusto natin I think yung moral fiber is so important. If we want
Character building,
we need GMRC. Ang sinasabi nila, Congressman, meron na yan. Meron tayong ESP
Yes.
Again, Dr. April, magtanong tayo, and I did it pumunta ka sa mga DepEd schools natin, tanongin niyo kahit yung mga magulang. Kahit ESP nga, hindi nga nila alam kung not everyone would know what ESP
exactly
spelled out. So, ang hirap talaga. So, sinasabi ko, GMRC is such a common, such a well-known term. Kahit sa mga ng GMRC, alam nila kagad yung good manners, right conduct because we had it before. Tinanggal lang naman yan, especially during K-12, di ba?
Yes.
Pero sabi ko, ibalik na sa subject, pero let's make it not only theoretical. Hopefully, kasama dito yung adjustment sa pagiging, the adjustment that we will now lessen the subjects and really focus on reading and learning, understanding what you read, and a little math and science. Sana yun na lang. GMRC.
So what do you think about benchmarking also for our co-fellow ASEAN nations? Because definitely insofar as content of the curriculum is concerned, as you mentioned, when it talks about the STEAM, STEAM content of our curriculum, we seem to be falling far behind our neighbors in the ASEAN region.
Yes. Again, Dr. April, I think I don't want to reinvent the wheel in the sense that I've seen a lot of notes already passed on to me of former members of the Senate or kahit nga yung current members of the Senate and even yung mga nauna sa akin dito sa committee na to, that we've in fact gone to our Asian neighbors, tried to compare, tried to ask. Pero alam mo, yung common advice of everyone is don't compare. You cannot copy what we do here to your country. First, population-wise, ang laki talaga ng Pilipinas. And then, concentrated tayo in very densely populated communities. So, unlike sa ibang jurisdiction, talagang again, the way I look at it, they're even advising us, at least yung mga nauna sa akin in this committee and even the Senate, na you take a look at all what we're doing, but you cannot copy it because iba talaga yung mas onti. Singapore, I think that was the last na napuntahan nung at least that was the last report I read.
But that's a city-state. That's totally different from the Philippine demographic profile.
And that's what they told us. That's not us, not me, but that's what they told those who visited. This is what we do, but you cannot, you have to have your own model because iba talaga yung natin, yung demographic, it's very different. And yun yung point natin . So again, even with the Western countries, we cannot copy what they're doing. We can look at what they're doing, but we know already, alam naman natin . Alam natin na the very basic thing, Filipinos by nature are talented, matalino naman talaga . Sa totoo lang kasi, pag nag-abroad nga, discipline-wise, they quickly learn. Kahit na hindi nga sila kahit nga hindi natutunan dito sa atin, pag nasa abroad, ang bilis nila matutunan kahit anong ituro sa kanila. They adapt quickly. So that shows na matalino. So we just have to really equip them with the very basics. And the very basics really, dapat marunong magbasa at naiintindihan, basa, at naiintindihan yung binabasa. Let them be their own teachers eventually. Pero yun yung pinaka-basic. Kailangan ma-equip natin sila that marunong sila magbasa at naiintindihan. Hindi yung ano lang na they can read and recite it, no? But
Yes.
dapat may comprehension.
But
Yun
it's
lang
not memorization. So last issue is about really the medium of instruction and scholarship. This is the endless debate about the language divide between the use of the English language and, of course, yun nga, Filipino language and or mother-based instruction of the 12 regional dialects. What is your take on this, Kong?
Dr. April, alam mo sa akin nga, kanina I was with di ba I came from the Pasig Library. Early on doon, kasama namin yung KWF.
Yes.
Kasama namin ng si Dr. Casanova
Yes.
of Komisyon ng Wikang Filipino. In fact, I was asking him, that is exactly the point. Ang Komisyon ng Wikang Filipino, sila yung in charge para i-alphabetize yung iba-iba nating dialect, including actually there are about 20 major na ngayon na sinasabi sa atin, but there are 132 dialects. I think
Dialects, yes.
Yeah. Ang sinasabi ko, na-alphabetize na ba? Because
Yes.
unless ma-alphabetize yan, hindi tayo makagawa ng textbook, ng learning material,
Yes.
or ng any book. Wala kang magagawa kung hindi siya alphabetized. Hindi pa rin
Yes.
Hindi pa rin. So what are we doing? Forcing my point is now, bakit natin pina-force yung mother tongue? Wala pa pala tayong libro. Wala pa pala
Yes.
tayong textbook na di-teach within the mother tongue. Kasi hindi pa alphabetized I think less than 10 ang na-alphabetize.
Yes.
So, wala kang textbook yun. Wala pa sabi ko, wala akong problema sa using Tagalog or any of the other mother tongue based languages. Ang point lang,
Yes.
ano yung tinuturo natin kung wala naman libro?
Where's the instructional materials?
Wala. There's none. Kasi hindi pa nga na-alphabetize So, ang point ko, kung wala pa yan, hindi ba dapat doon na muna tayo sa
Unahin muna.
Yes. Let's use English until we are able to alphabetize. Again, that's Dr. Abel, that is such a
Fundamental.
not but the debate on that matter now
Yes.
is so emotional
Yes.
because ang sinasabi naman ng mga proponents ng mother tongue, because we filed we actually heard this issue in the committee.
Exactly.
Sabi nila, paano kung sabihin niyo na English muna tayo until ma-alphabetize? Ang mangyayari dyan, it will never be alphabetized.
Okay.
Because hindi nagaganahan raw
Okay.
gumawa.
Demotivated.
Hindi na. Ang point ko naman, so sa ngayon, we've had this K-12
Mother tongue-based instructions.
2012 2012 na pasat tong K-12
Yeah, well, actually 2013 Kong, pero 2016 yung full implementation natin.
Yeah. But 2013, 2012 siguro pinagdebatehan sa Congress.
Yes, and 2013
pumasa.
yung law. Yes.
So you've had 8 years
Yes.
to alphabetize because you knew it was there. What did they do from 2013 to 2016?
Yes.
Wasn't that the time na dapat nag-prepare para sa implementation? And in fact, I was one of those who
K-12 because you were in Congress at the time, 2013 to 2016.
Yeah, 2014 or 2015, I filed a resolution encouraging the postponement of the implementation in 2016 because sabi ko, unfair You'll have a new administration who did not create the K-12.
Yes.
Ano yung preparations? At that time, parang ang gulo. Pinag-uusapan nga, tinatanggal na yung Filipino department sa colleges dahil ibababa na
wala na kasing Pilipino. Yes.
Yes, so nag-alalaki ng issue nun. So, obviously, there was no preparation from the 2013 to 2016. And then bigla na lang, of course, election yan. Everyone knew naman kaka-election. So, you have a new administration na hindi naman sila yung gumawa ng batas and then iniwan sa kanila, ganito na lang. Ang hirap talaga. I think it was difficult to implement just like that. So, but we're here now. So, we heard that. We were thinking, baka naman pwedeng wag na muna. Di ba? Kasi talagang kawawa rin yung bata habang wala pang sinasabi sa amin ng mga taga Ilocos, even the teachers are saying na may mga words na pinapagamit sa kanila na kahit sila hindi na nila ginagamit sa pangkaraniwan
In Ilocano or Filipino.
Hindi na raw nila ginagamit yung term
Hindi na rin ginagamit, yes.
Yes, but of course, hindi pa kasi na So, yun ang problema So, what happens now to the children, di ba? Our students.
They're confused.
They will be confused. So, now 2018 comes. We take the PISA exam. We take the SEA, PLM, and the TIMS.
Yes.
So it's not a reflection of our students, but really it was the adjustment, the confusion from tinuturuan sila in K-3 ng mother tongue o pinipilit yun or minsan hindi, gulo eh. And then so, hindi naman katakataka yung results, di ba?
So you need to have a lot more hearings, Congressman.
Yeah. Oh, we have to do that talaga. Hopefully the
On this matter.
Yes.
Yeah. So on a final note, as the representative of the Lone District of Pasig City, so how will you present the city of Pasig in the next Congress, especially with respect to education and other advocacies that you will have in the House of Representatives?
Yes. Again, we have to move on from the other issues rin talaga, like sa K-3, yung sunod, we passed already the National Academy for Sports system. Quickly lang,
Yes.
minsan misunderstood yan eh. People think that law merely established the sports high school in Clark. That's not true. It's a system.
Yes.
It will be implemented throughout the Philippines.
All over the Philippines.
All over the Philippines for DepEd schools that have a sports track. Yun talaga yan. Because we have to have non-let takers teach sports rin. Hindi naman pwedeng let takers lang doon. Kasi magaling ang teachers natin sa academic subjects. But when we come to sports, hindi yun ang forte nila. You really have to get in athletes, coaches, to be the ones to train for that aspect, yung non-academic portion of the sports track. The other one now is we're revising. We passed na in the House. Sa Senate, hopefully, they adopt it in the next Congress. We also have to adjust the arts and design. Wala na pumapasok sa arts and design track eh. And the commitment there was about 20% ang total, hindi umabot. So para sa akin, we've already passed the creative arts system.
And Filipinos are talented in the arts.
Correct. But under this bill again, we adjusted again the arts and design track. Ginawa na natin creative arts system wherein we will allow non-let takers like our national artists, our professionals, to be able to teach in our schools and give grades. Kasi yun ang kailangan mo eh. Ang teachers natin are good in academic subjects because that is what they studied for in tertiary.
Of course.
Pero pagdating ng how to play the guitar this way, o kunwari gusto maging whatever, K-drama, Philippine drama natin, di ba? You need someone who...
It's a different track altogether.
Yes, and you will have to allow non-let takers to teach, and that is what the creative arts system bill allows them to do. And last na, I know may sunod ganun kasi for everyone.
Yes,
we are already adjusting the Teachers Education Council.
Yes.
Dito, gusto natin yung minimum standards being taught at our tertiary level, yung college universities, may say naman ang DepEd. They hire 900,000 teachers. They know what the students need. They know what the teacher should be equipped with. Dapat naman pagdating ng curriculum development sa colleges, may say naman yung DepEd. Hindi katulad ngayon, it's really, wala naman talaga silang say.
And that's where the integration might come in, definitely, between the different
doon lang sa Teachers Education Council.
Yes, definitely. So again, can you please give some last words to our stakeholders in the education sector who are all listening to us as to what they may expect from your chairmanship of the House Committee on Basic Education or even Higher Education in the next Congress, and of course the legislative agenda of how we can improve our Philippine education?
Yes. First of all, thank you again, Dr. April. Sa lahat po na nakikinig, maraming salamat. Alam natin na maraming issues ang kailangan nating kaharapin. Alam natin rin na hindi naman tayo lahat mag-agree sa solusyon sa bawat problema. Pero ang importante, hindi naman tayo maging stagnant. We have to, again, keep on trying different things until we are able to improve the quality of education. Talagang magsama-sama tayo. Minsan talaga, hindi natin makukuha yung gusto natin. Pero let's just try to band together. Let's make changes because the status quo is not working. We have to, we have to do something. We have to help our students. At the end of the day, yun lang naman ang concern natin lahat.
Yes. And thank you so much, Kong, for your support to the education sector. We will continue to support you and your advocacies, both for the Pasig City as well as the House of Representatives. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, so we wish the best of your endeavors and stay safe and healthy. Thank you very much.
God bless.
God bless. Thank you. So that was Congressman Romulo, the chairman of the Committee on the House for Basic Education, and we'll be right back. Thank you very much for watching AAA Live, where your academic goals are advanced and achieved. Before I leave, of course, I'd like a shout out to all our supporters from the different universities, Compostela Valley State College, of course, Cebu Normal University, Antipolo Institute of Technology, Rizal Technological University, University of Rizal System. And beginning in October, we will be launching a new program called the Career Assistance Program, so calling all our students from the tertiary education to our family in the education community. So again, this is Attorney Amihan April M. Alcazar saying stay safe and healthy to everyone until next Wednesday when we return with AAA Live every Wednesdays from 7 to 8 in the evening, where your academic goals are advanced and achieved. Good night, everyone.